Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be levelling this lawn, preparing this lawn and creating a brand new lawn. This customer is a new customer and he came to us with a plot of land in his back garden what he's just had all renovated and done up, and he said, can you make me a nice new lawn so it's ready for when we have a bit of a party coming up in a couple of months time. I said yeah, no problem. So it needs levelling, it needs sorting, and we need to get it right. So with this one, the ground's actually quite soft. There's a lot more compacted on that lawn. What we're going to do, we're just going to run the aerator over first because it's fairly compact around the edges, just to improve drainage. And then the plan is we're going to try and loosen all the top couple of inches and get as many of the big stones out as we can. And then we're going to start bringing some of the soil over. So now what we're doing, we're just aerating in the places where the machine physically can't fit. We're trying to get down, but there's a fair few stones. What we're aiming to do is just loosen the top inch or so of soil, just to give the roots a good fighting chance. We are going to be bringing some more soil in as well. So we'll just carry on with this. Okay, so we've come up with another idea. We're going to use the cultivator, the tiller attachment on my Stihl combi tool over there, just to try and loosen up the top inch or so across this lawn. There is quite a few stones, so I've laid some bags of compost against the glass just for a little bit of extra protection. So we're going to crack on with this and then we're going to get these stones out. As I say, it already looks a lot better. So we've used the tiller cultivator attachment just to loosen up the top couple of inches, and then we've raked it about and we've raked out most of the big stones, and it's looking pretty good even at this point now. As you can see, it's not looking too bad. So the next thing we're going to do is bring some soil in from that pile over there. I'm going to start building these edges up. We're going to try and get it up reasonably flat with the edge, and then we'll just peter it all out. What we've done, we've brought soil in, and now we need to get this flat. But because we've brought quite a bit in, we need to firm it as well in layers. So we've brought some in, I'm going to rake it about, then we're going to use the roller to firm it down, and then we're going to continue raking and rollering and using the lawn levelling lute over here. And this tool here will drag the soil from the high spots into the low spots. And the combination of all three will get a nice lawn that's nicely prepared, a good base and ready for seed. Okay, so on most lawns, what we've just done is absolutely fine. As long as you keep dragging the lute backwards and forwards, it's going to drag from the high spots into the low spots. The more you do it, the flatter it becomes. But if you want to get super flat, you can just take a piece of builder's string and string it from one corner to the other, and you can just see how much it dips. And you can see we've got about 1 inch of dip under there, although we have got some soil here. We'll just take that out there. So it's gone down there about 1/2 inch, and then you can see all the various sections, like over here where there's an obvious dip right underneath. So what we do, we'll keep the string here, we'll bring some soil into this area and we'll rake it flat, and then we'll lift this up and move it across and look for any further dips. And once we're fairly happy and it's fairly flat, then we can move on to the next step. Charlie's just dragging the lute just to take off any high spots and move them into low spots, but quite happy with that. We've moved the string all the way around and we've cleared out the worst of it, so it's pretty flat. It's 90% where it needs to be, which is what it's all about. And you can continue doing that process, adding soil into the dips for as long as you like. The longer you do it, the flatter you get it. So the next thing is going to be getting this seeded, and then we're going to get it top dressed, and then we're going to get a fleece on. So here, what I'm doing, I'm starting on the second lawn. I'm going to go over with the tiller and see how we get on. However, there is a bit of a problem. This lawn is really compacted because they had JCBs coming in to do all the digging work to prepare for this garden, so we need a bit of a change of tact. So what we're doing, the ground's actually really hard here because they've had all the diggers in and machinery while they've been building this garden, and it's very hard to churn up with the tiller, cultivator, and we've put the aerator on just to try and see if we can loosen things up a bit, which has helped. But what we're doing, we're just giving it a bit of a soak in, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll let that dry, and then we'll come over again with this, and it should churn up a lot easier, and then we can get back on with it. So while we're waiting on that, we're going to get the rest of this one prepared. So we're quite happy now with the levels. You know, if you're after bowling green, then you just need to continue doing what we were doing earlier, adding soil into the low parts and keep moving it around. But this is 90% where it needs to be. The customer's quite happy as long as it's nice and green and he can use it and he's not sort of cashing it with the mower and scalping it. So what we're going to do, we're just going to give it a very roughing up, scatter the seed, bit of fertiliser, bit of compost, and roller it in. So the first thing we're going to do is add a little bit of fertiliser. So this is an autumn winter fertiliser, which is all about the roots and the health of the plant of the grass, and it's okay. Or you can just go and get a pre-seed fertiliser, which is more perfect. But this is absolutely fine, and I've used this approach for years with no problems. I've got 2 handheld spreaders here which I'm going to be using. Miracle Grow rotary spreader. This works great for applying fertiliser. However, I've since got this Scott's Whirl, and this to me is a lot better in terms of when you want to put seed down. This works really well with seed, and it's because of the little rotary inside. So I really like this now. So first thing, I want to just get some fertiliser on. And I'm going on setting number 3. So we've got here Boston Seeds, Premier Lawn Seed it's called. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to put this onto the highest setting, number 5, which it already is. Take a scoop, and I'm going to go over the lawn until I'm happy with the coverage. So coverage wise, probably half a centimetre approximately between each blade of grass is perfectly fine. Remember, each one of those is going to become a plant in itself. So now we've done that, we need to cover the seeds to stop the wind blowing the seeds, to stop the birds getting from the seeds, and any heavy sudden amounts of rain. So we're going to be using our Landsy compost spreader. We're going to fill that up with compost, drag it across the lawn, and then get the roller on. So Charlie's managed to do that single-handedly in the wind. He's done a great job. So we're just going to get the other lawn sorted now, and we'll spray it all at the end and give it all a good watering right at the end. So I'll just show you where we're at on the other lawn. We gave it a bit of a watering because it was really hard, and we aerated it, and we left it 10-15 minutes for the water to soak in. It did make it a bit softer. And we've just spent about 40 minutes using the tiller just to churn up the top inch or so. There are some huge boulders and bricks, so we're going to spend some time now. It's the same process, taking the boulders out, as many as possible, and then getting the soil, moving it all around into the low spots so it becomes a little bit more level. Right, so we've actually run out of fleece, but I think it'll be fine. If I can get hold of some more, I'll come back and finish it off. There you go. All done and dusted. Tidied away. We'll just need to let it wait now. Right, we're here, and this is now 3 weeks later. I'm going to show you where we're at. So you might think it's looking pretty good, and actually it is, but it's not perfect, and I want to go into that right now. So the customer, I've just come back today to pick up the fleece and the pegs, and the customer's mentioned there's a few areas where it's not quite right. Now, he said to me, the day after we left, we had some really heavy rain, and I'm going to show you something in a moment. But then the day when he took the fleece off, there were some strong winds. I don't know if you can remember, but the small lawn, we fleeced the whole entirety of it. And all of that looks really even. Now on this main lawn, we actually ran out of fleece. So we fleeced 1 or 2 strips here, and then half a third strip. So all of this left hand side and round up there had no fleece on. And I want to show you how effective a fleece can be. So you can see from this angle here that the far end of the lawn is uniformly green all the way across from the left to the right. In the main, there's a couple of small areas, but then the rest of it here, we didn't fleece. Now, if there hadn't have been any strong winds or heavy rain, this would have been absolutely fine. He's had no birds come down, but because of the heavy rain the day after, what it's done, it's come down heavy and it's washed the compost and seed to the sides. Because it was not protected by the fleece, it would have given it a little bit of extra protection, but not to worry. So in these cases, all we need to do is scatter a little bit more seed on and cover again with compost. You can clearly see, can't you, where the fleece had been. All this side here, and then it came up halfway to there. But because of the heavy rain and the winds, all of this section here was patchy. But it wouldn't have been if the weather had been okay. These things happen, nature happens, you just have to deal with it, put a bit more seed down, a bit more compost over the top. You can either use topsoil if you want, which is heavier than compost, and that'll help to keep the seeds firmly in place, or you can put some more fleece down. So notice 1 or 2 weed grasses in there. So I'm going to get these out today, and then it's just a waiting game. Just one more thing, you can see this lawn, how evenly green it is and how nice it looks. But this section here, you can see the difference in the shade and how much longer it's taking for it to actually come through. In the shade, it's a lot thinner and takes a lot longer to germinate and actually come through. And then once you get into the sun, it looks good. So thanks very much for watching. Just the passage of time now. These new seeds will all come through in the next couple of weeks and we'll have a nice even green. But you can see from the footage we've taken today how it's going to look in a couple of weeks time. Listen, thanks for watching.
Look on screen now, either side there'll be more videos that help you to get a nicer, greener lawn. Please check out those videos, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Let's reach more people, help to get their lawns looking the best they possibly can.